Welcome to the Third and Long podcast. I'm your host, Henry Mitchell. We're joined with Christian Josie, Drazen Ginsberg, Sean Aylen, and Greg Gitter. So this is episode 1 of our podcast. We're going to be going over some recaps from week 2. Then we're going to go into some stardom situms for your fantasy football team, along with we're going to talk about the games for next week. Then we're going to go into our own bold predictions for this week, week 3. And then at the end, we're going to end with our own trivia. So, week 2 was pretty exciting.
Injury-filled.
Yeah, we had a lot of injuries. Obviously, players like Saquon, Christian McCaffrey. So we, in our own time, we watched the recap of the Cowboys-Falcons game, which, as you probably know, was crazy. With 5 minutes left, the Falcons were up by 15 points, and the Cowboys ended up coming back to win by a point. So let's just go around and say what are your thoughts on this game, because it was pretty eventful.
I thought that the Falcons played great on offense in the first half, and I think they played a pretty well-rounded game on the offensive side. They had 3 receivers who were productive. Their defense just killed them in the end, because for them to be up 15 with 4 minutes left and 2 timeouts, I think it was, and just blow that lead, it's just terrible. And the onside kick that they rolled was just terrible. They can't let that happen. If they want to win games in the future, they're not going to be able to let up points like that.
So
yeah, I completely agree. I think you got it.
I think that the Cowboys I don't think it was as much as the Falcons defense. I just think the Cowboys had a super productive half on offense, because you saw Dak throwing the ball to just about everybody on the team, whether it was CD or Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper downfield. You just had everyone getting the ball, sharing the love. You had Zeke running the ball. You just couldn't really stop it. And then the Falcons offense just wasn't really doing much in the fourth quarter to help put points back up on the board.
Completely. Dak balled out. I think he had 400 passing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, maybe 2. He was rough. It was rough in the first quarter, especially when I was looking at some of my fantasy teams. But he got better from there, and he really carried the Cowboys.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Falcons were definitely slacking in the second half. The onside kick, like from what I saw, it was almost like the Atlanta Falcons were like surrounding the ball, not even wanting to pick it up. And I thought, if I was one of them, I would have just gone onto the ground, get that ball. But impressive comeback by the Cowboys. The Falcons have done this before when they got blown out by the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And I think the Falcons just got to have this mentality of just play the whole game. And it happens to get blown out, but you got to play the whole game with the same 110%. I don't think the Falcons did that.
Another player we haven't talked about is Matt Ryan. He had a great game. Mm-hmm. He had 4 passing touchdowns. So with a passer rating of 126. I think it was just a really overall great game for both teams. It just in the fourth quarter, it kind of just didn't really come together, and the Cowboys got really lucky with that onside kick.
I think the Cowboys, they just looked way more professional and looked like it was supposed to happen, where you just had Atlanta just missing opportunities left and right, where you get to a third down and get stopped when you have to get that third down. Or we saw the play with Russell Gage at quarterback through that wildcat formation.
Oh, yeah.
And Julio just drops a wide open touchdown. That's the game right there in his hands, and he just drops it.
Yeah.
If you put that touchdown on the board, the Cowboys aren't coming back, and we know that.
Another player I want to talk about was Calvin Ridley. These first 2 weeks, he's been going crazy. And it's partly because they're trying to stop Julio, but, he's proven that he's the right draft pick for them.
Yeah, and with that Russell Gage throw, I mean, we've seen the Falcons use that before, like back when they had Mohamed Sanu, because obviously like
Hmm.
he played some quarterback like in college. So I mean, it's a great formation for them to use, but like we were just talking about this. I mean, Julio against the Panthers that one time dropped that touchdown in this exact same play.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a bad Julio play all over again. I mean, he's still a great player. It's just like, I mean, this game he had 24 yards. So I think they really that Dallas defense was definitely focused on locking him down.
So, something that I thought was just really funny was like throughout that game during halftime into the third quarter, there were already like Twitter and Instagram posts about how the Cowboys suck and all that stuff. And then they come back and everybody's just like disappointed and mad because, we all hate the Cowboys. So that was really funny. And everybody's commenting, oh, that didn't age well and stuff like that. So,
The Cowboys have just become such a meme. It gets really funny, but like,
yeah,
and then when they win, everybody's like, you're not talking anymore. But
yeah.
I thought those Cowboys defensive backs had a really big second half impact where, I mean, week one, you kind of saw them with the Rams a little bit, but the Rams were just killing up with that wide receiver screen pass. And then once they'd actually get adjusted to that wide receiver screen pass, you had Malcolm Brown who had a huge day with 2 touchdowns and 100 yards or so. So you just had those like big step off, especially because Diggs had a really big game. He had a couple big breakups, almost a pick, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, Diggs is a really solid corner.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all want to move on to the next game we were going to talk
Yeah.
about?
Okay. So we have some other really good games last week. So obviously Christian's a big Bills fan. So the Bills did beat the Dolphins. Josh Allen won AFC Offensive Player of the Week. So
Yeah, I've never seen Josh Allen have a performance like that. He had 417 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. And Byron Jones and their other secondary players could not stop the offense. I mean, Stephon Diggs had 8 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. John Brown had 82 yards and a touchdown. Beasley had 70 yards and off 5 catches, along with 26. And there was just plays in the game where Josh Allen just looked like an MVP caliber quarterback. He looked like Mahomes in a lot of the situations, and I think that he's going to have a very good year. On the Dolphins side, I think Fitzpatrick did play a very good game. They need to fix that running game. There is no running game there. Breida has not been playing great. They signed Gaskin. He has not been playing great. The only thing I was really worried about in the Bills was their ability to let a tight end destroy us. Mike Gesicki, the Dolphins tight end, had 8 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown off 16.3 average yards per catch. That's something they need to work on, but overall, good win for the Bills.
So I think when it comes to the Bills like having such a good offense that game is because the Dolphins have so many new players on defense, and they still with like the smaller offseason and all the Corona stuff, I think they haven't really gotten the chance to gel together and be the defense that they potentially could be. So I personally think they're still one of the bottom defenses in the league, and the Bills were really able to throw and run all over them, just do whatever they wanted. So I think the Dolphins need to take their time, get to know each other, like gel together better, and then their defense will start to excel.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, coming from like a Dolphins team that was literally like awful last year, and that's how they're starting this year, 0-2. I mean, they probably won like 1 or 2 games last year or something like that. But coming into like the process of gaining new people, and yeah, I mean it's a crazy time, and I think
Yeah.
honestly, like in the next 5 years, I think we can see the Dolphins coming to be like a really strong team.
I think that the Dolphins, I don't really know what's going on. I didn't see much of that game, but I know that in the offseason they acquired both Aqib Talib and Byron Jones, which are huge 2 secondary pickups. I mean, you have depending on the year, you have 2 former Pro Bowlers / current Pro Bowlers, depending on the year with Aqib Talib. But Byron Jones is almost always a a contender for that Pro Bowl spot. But I think that they have the potential, but I don't know how I feel about the Dolphins quite yet because they just like I kind of consider them the JUCO of the NFL because you just see players just go there, ball out a little bit, and then just get traded straight away. So, I mean, for example, you have Ryan Tannehill who had a couple productive years there, but you see him get traded into a better system or picked up. I don't really remember what happened with that situation, but you see him go to the Titans and just absolutely ball out last season, taking him to a AFC, not the AFC championship, the divisional. And you just see like all the running. Jay Ajayi had that huge year in Miami and got traded and was part of that Super Bowl team with Philadelphia. And you have Kenyon Drake last year who balled out, and now he's a top 10 running back in the NFL with the Cardinals.
And a couple years back, Jarvis Landry too, when he went from the Dolphins to the Browns. Even though the Browns obviously weren't very good and still aren't, but that's another example of that.
Yeah, so speaking of the Cardinals, I think we should go into talking about this Cardinals versus Washington football team game. So I was looking at this game. I was looking at some highlights and stuff last night. I mean, obviously, like Kyler Murray is doing amazing this year. He has 286 yards and 3 total touchdowns. Obviously, I have him on my fantasy team, so I really like him this year. But I think by the end of this year, he could cement himself as like definitely a top 5 quarterback. If he keeps playing the way he's been playing, then that could really go somewhere. Another like that Arizona defense is not too strong, but they have Chandler Jones, who's arguably the best pass rusher in the league. Another guy who's had a really good year is Budda Baker. He already has 20 tackles in just 2 games, and he was a Pro Bowler a few years ago. So like, I'm really liking this Arizona team. I mean, they have D-Hop, obviously. He didn't have a huge impact, but he did score, and then Kyler finished that off with 2 rushing touchdowns.
I'm excited to see this Arizona defense come together a little more because you see Budda Baker, highest paid safety in NFL history this year. Then you have Patrick Peterson, who I don't think there's a year where he's been bad. And then obviously you have Chandler Jones, who's a little timeless wonder. I don't really know how old he is, but he's been around as long as anybody else. And he just always is in that conversation for a top 5 pass rusher, top 3, top best. Like, I'm just excited to see this team just kind of go into a little role player. Last year they acquired Jordan Hicks and another linebacker. I don't remember who, but I'm excited to see this all gel, and I think it's gonna be a good defense to take this team far in the playoffs.
And something that we can't forget about is their first-round draft pick, Isaiah Simmons. I don't know how he's performed so far, but I'm assuming pretty well.
He's been pretty good for a rookie, at least. I mean, I was looking at it. He has like a good amount of tackles. He's looking good.
That's good.
And with the connection with Kyler Murray to D-Hop, it's fabulous though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, D-Hop might not be scoring touchdowns as much, but the difference between Deshaun Watson and D-Hop and Kyler Murray and D-Hop in like these 2 games, it's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's getting the ball and he's getting yards like he should, because he's always a top 10 fantasy prospect, and then most of the time he's a bust. But I think this year, I think if you did draft him, he is always a wide receiver 1, and I think that he is just up from here.
I see Kyler. I think Kyler's going to be definitely an MVP candidate at the end of the season. He's just had super productive first 2 weeks. I mean, he was going against a strong 49ers defense last week, or I guess they were. They've been all over injuries this week and a little bit last week, I think. But you see him this week at Washington with 3 total touchdowns. That's like at least 5 on the year for him. Because then I guess you can also bring in top runners throughout the league. Where Josh Allen. But I think that Kyler Murray is just a little bit ahead because Josh Allen really hasn't been up against that full test quite yet. He had the Jets week 1 and the
Rams week 3.
Dolphins week 2.
I think
Yeah,
this
no.
week will be a test for Josh Allen against Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so on the other side of this game, we obviously have the Washington football team, who, I mean, I don't think they're looking that bad. I mean, Haskins is like we usually know him as being a pretty bad quarterback, but I mean, he had over 200 yards and a touchdown, and Terry McLaurin is looking really good. He had
Yeah,
7
no, he balled
catches,
out.
125 and a touchdown.
I expect him to ball out big because these Washington running backs, I just don't see him getting it done this year. Their O-line, I don't really see. Trent Williams, is he still there? He might have gotten
He's on
traded.
the
I think he got
49ers, I
traded.
think.
Yeah, so their O-line is just not – their just O-line's not good enough to sustain any big run game or anything like that. I think Terry McLaurin and Dwayne Haskins are going to have to form a big bond, kind of like a Deshaun Watson type thing.
Yeah.
Where you kind of just know it's going Terry McLaurin. He's got to do whatever he can to not let you stop him. And yeah, that Washington football team D-line though. I know.
Yeah, no, their front seven.
Oh,
their
yeah.
front seven.
I mean, Chase Young's been playing well. Kerrigan hasn't had a great year so far, but I mean, it's only going into week 3. And then another guy who I was looking at last night, I don't know if y'all have heard of him, but his name is Kevin Pierre-Louis. This year, he has 19 tackles. He's the leading tackler for that team. So, I mean, so far in his career, he seems like pretty underrated. So, I mean,
And you've also got
we could see some really good players on that defense.
And like Montez Sweat, you got to add him to that. He's young,
and
still
Landon
getting
Collins
better.
too.
I think he can be a really good player in the future. Yeah.
I think once this Washington football team offense starts clicking a little bit better, their defense is going to keep getting confidence because the Washington football team is just having problems putting some points on the board. They're just really not getting into the end zone as much as they need to be for that defense to be as confident as we probably want them to be. So I think once they start scoring, their defense is going to kind of take in their roles and everything. I think that D-line is going to start going crazy. I think Landon Collins is going to have a big impact in that secondary as well. I think it's going to be a good year for the Washington football team. Not that great. I think they could possibly go 6-10, but I mean it's better than their 3-13, 4-12 season last year.
Definitely, but I think they'll do better than expected at the beginning of the season.
All right. I think those are some of our biggest games, unless y'all want to talk about the Panthers. Otherwise, we're going to –
I have a game I wanted to –
Yeah, sure.
The Titans-Jaguars game. That was a really good game. The Jags, a lot of people are saying they were going to go 0-16. They surprised us with the win up against Colts team who has potential, but they haven't really clicked yet. Gardner Minshew's playing amazing. He's just balling out. Their running game is looking good to James Robinson, who had 102 yards and a touchdown. Chark is playing pretty good. Their receiving core is playing good. Their offense is good. The only thing I'm worried about is their defense. A couple of years ago, they were, amazing on D, but now I just –
Absolutely.
And as far as the Titans go, Tannehill played really well. He had 4 touchdowns, high completion. Derrick Henry's been struggling a little bit these last 2 weeks. He only had 84 yards off 27 carries. And a player I want to talk about in Tennessee is Jonnu Smith. He's the tight end for them. He had 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to be a good impact player for them this year.
All right.
And I think
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think another player on their offense to look out for, although he was injured last week and didn't do too well the first week, is A.J. Brown. I really, not only because he's on my fantasy team, but just in general and him as a player in person, I want him to succeed. And I think he can totally do that in these upcoming weeks. And I think he is a player who's going to do, if he
Sean's frozen.
I can just kind of go off that a little bit. I mean, last year we saw those Ole Miss wide receiver rookies just absolutely you can't watch NFL and not like at least one of them. Because whether it's DK Metcalf, who looks like he could play linebacker, or AJ Brown just was a huge impact on that Titans offense, where they kind of had offense, they kind of had a passing game. It was more rushing game towards the end of the season, but also Derrick Henry the last couple years, he's been starting off the season god awful. He's been around that 8th, 9th, 10th game. He's really been clicking and getting those 150, 200-yard multiple touchdown games.
Another player in Tennessee that's looked really good so far is Corey Davis. He has like 140 yards in his first 2 weeks combined, and 2 touchdowns. I think that he could this is a contract year for him, so I potentially could see him taking AJ Brown's spot as the number 1 receiver on that team.
All right. Do you guys want to do stardom situms?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
All
move
right.
on to
Who'd
that.
like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
All right. So for my stardoms, I have Eckler and Deontay Johnson because Deontay Johnson is going to sorry Texans offense, especially being a number 2 receiver. Big Ben's going to find him a way to get that ball. In week 1, we saw the Chiefs just absolutely kill the Texans offensively. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a big week, but Demarcus Robinson, that number 4 wide receiver in that offense, he had 2 touchdowns that he dropped, which, I mean, that's a bad day for him, but you still see, like, the number 4 receiver had 2 options at a touchdown. That shouldn't be happening. And then my sit, I have AJ Green against a strong Baltimore defense. Is that who they're playing this week? I completely forgot.
No,
No, they
the
have
Chiefs and Ravens play.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Let's skip it. And then I have another set. I have the entire Giants backfield. That backfield, I think, is just a cancer for that team in general. I think you saw Saquon. He had little to no production those first 2 weeks. He just did nothing. Devontae Freeman, he might thrive in that environment. I'm not really sure. But we saw Saquon, who we all know what he can do. We all seen what he can do. I just think that this Giants backfield is something that everyone needs to stay away from because if Saquon can't get it done, I don't think Devontae Freeman or Dion Lewis will.
Yeah, I think if Devontae Freeman is there on the waiver wires, that's a good pickup, but you should not be putting him in your lineup this first week that he's with the Giants. Maybe not even the next couple of weeks, but I think later in the season he'll be able to show like why he was a pretty good running back in the NFL. It'll just take him a while to get there.
So for my stardoms, I have Juju Smith-Schuster and James Robinson running back for the Jags. I put Schuster because, I mean, again, he's going against a really bad Texans D, and I just think he'll ball out. And for James Robinson, he's going against Miami, who has not been – I mean, they're right now considered the worst run stoppers in the league, and Robinson had 100 yards and a touchdown last week against a decent Titans D, so I think that he'll ball out. And for my sit-ins, I have Robert Woods and Evan Ingram. Ingram is playing the 49ers D, who tend to shut down tight ends a lot, and I just don't see Ingram doing anything against them. And for Robert Woods, he's facing top 5, top 3 Bills defense. And Tre'Davious White is going to be on him, arguably a top 3 corner in the league. I think he'll be shut down. I think Cooper Kupp's going to get a lot of receptions.
Yeah, so I'll go next. So for my stardoms, I have Jonathan Taylor, who's going to be going up against the Jets, and then Laviska Shenault going to go up against Miami. So for Jonathan Taylor, obviously, Marlon Mack is, he's injured. So the only running backs they have are Jonathan Taylor and then Nyheim Hines. So I'm just really liking Taylor this week because, I mean, the Jets defense is really never good. And now that they don't have Jamal Adams anymore, it's going to be pretty hard to stop him. Their D-line's not that great either. For Laviska Shenault, who's playing Thursday versus Miami, I just don't really see Miami's defense stopping those receivers on the Jags. And Shenault had a really great week 1, so I'm feeling him. For Stidham, I got Stephon Diggs versus the Rams, and then Jerry Jeudy versus the Bucks. I know Christian doesn't like the Stephon Diggs pick, but I just don't see like I think the Bills will win that game, but I think Stephon Diggs can definitely get locked down by some of those Rams corners. And then Jerry Judy, I don't know how much I like that Denver offense. I mean, Melvin Gordon's obviously a great running back, but like I don't really have much confidence in their O line, and against a Tampa Bay defense who has like Ndamukong Suh, and then obviously like Shaquille Barrett at linebacker.
Devin White.
Yeah, Devin White, who's emerging as a really great second year player. I'm just not liking Judy this week.
All right. So my stardoms are Cam Newton and Keenan Allen. So I went into this year knowing that that Cam Newton was going to have a great year, and what is he having? He's having a great year. So because I think Cam Newton should, if you have him, he should be your starter because he can run the ball, he can pass the ball, and he knows what he's doing. And plus, like, since Panthers last year, not a very good O-line, he was always injured in some way. He couldn't really get much yards. But this year on the Patriots, he has a great O-line. Yeah. And what we've seen in these past 2 weeks is that the Patriots can drive, and then they get to the 1 yard line, and there are no running backs. So he sneaks in, which is 6 points on your fantasy. And then, but yeah. So, and I think just Cam Newton is a great start, no matter what defense. And so Keenan Allen is going against the Panthers. And from what we've seen last week, Mike Evans, 104 yards and a touchdown against the Panthers. I think Keenan Allen can smoke this Panthers defense. As much as I don't want that to happen, I think that can happen. And that's why I think starting Keenan Allen would be a great idea. For sit-ems, I think Ronald Jones and Emmanuel Sanders. So from what we've seen last week, Leonard Fournette, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. And I think we're going to see more of Leonard Fournette in the backfield, personally. And and Leonard Fournette is a great running back. And I mean, I don't think that he should have gotten traded in the first place, because now, I mean, the Jags, I mean, they have a great running back, but I think that Leonard Fournette is really a keeper. But so I think that Ronald Jones is not going to get as many touches as Fournette this week, especially against the Broncos defense. And so for Emmanuel Sanders, last week we were thinking, oh, Michael Thomas is out, so you should start Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to be wide receiver 1. He got 18 yards. Yeah. And so then now coming back that Michael Thomas might play, I would not trust Emmanuel Sanders in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. So going back to what Gray said with Austin Eckler, I have a stardom of Joshua Kelly, the second string running back who's a rookie for the Chargers. I think just him and Austin Eckler are going to tear it up against this sorry Panthers defense. I think if you have Joshua Kelly in like a deeper league, so like 10 or 12 or more people, he's a very good, very, very good flex option this week. And he's shown that he can play in these past 2 weeks. And then I also have Allen Robinson, who he is on my fantasy team, but the first 2 weeks he's not been too great. I think for standard he's got 7 points and 3 points, so not doing too well. But he's going against a bad Falcons defense, and Trubisky has just been playing actually pretty good, making good passes. So I expect a lot from Allen Robinson this week. And my sit-ems are Benny Snell and Zach Ertz. I'm just gonna sit Zach Ertz every week. He's playing the Bengals this week, but I think Dallas Goedert, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I think he's taking over that tight end one spot. And Zach Ertz just, I don't know if it's injuries or what that's been slowing him. I know last year he was a little bit banged up, but and then Benny Snell. So a lot of people were considering starting him last week based off of his week one performance. But based off of week two, James Conner is by far still the RB1 for that Steeler team. And no matter how good Benny Snell played, James Conner, I think, will still get a big majority of the carries.
All right. So next we're gonna go over our score predictions for week 3. So we're gonna pull up the games real quick. All right. So first game we got Thursday, Dolphins Jaguars. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. I think it's gonna be I think it'll be a kind of a low scoring game. I'm gonna say 17-14 Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Jaguars. I have them winning 28-17.
I'm gonna go Jaguars. I'm gonna go 24-17. No, I'm gonna go 24-14, but I think the Dolphins running backs will have a big impact this game. I think they're gonna break out.
I'm gonna go Jags 21-17.
I'm gonna go Dolphins 14-21, and yeah, 21-14.
All right. Let's just go to the one to the right of it. So let's go 49ers Giants. I got the yeah, I got the 49ers. I think it'll be I'm gonna say 28-21 49ers.
I upset of the week. I have the Giants beating the Niners. I have the score being 14-10.
I'm gonna say 28-10 Niners.
Posted out, it's not going to be as high scoring as the Niners typically would. So I'm going to go like 24-14.
So yeah, I got the 49ers in this game, and I'm going about 28-14 49ers.
I
All
think
right,
Daniel Jones eats up this game.
All right. Let's move on to Washington versus the Browns. I'm gonna go with the Browns in this one. I got the Browns. I'm gonna say 21-17.
I'm gonna go Washington football team 17-14.
Yep, give me the Washington football team 24-10. I think Baker throws 3 picks and gets benched.
Ooh, gets benched. I do have the football team beating the Browns. I think it'll be like a lower scoring game, 17 to like 14, Washington.
So I got the Browns in this one, and I'm thinking 17-3.
Okay. Bengals Eagles. I got the Eagles by a good amount. I'm gonna say 28-13.
I have the hold up, skip me. I have to think about this.
All right. I'm gonna go Eagles 21-10.
I'm also going to go Eagles 27 to 17.
I'm going to take the Bengals 17-14.
I'm also going to take the Bengals 2010.
All right. We got Raiders Patriots.
Ooh.
I don't know. I gotta go with the Raiders. Honestly, I really like the Raiders against the Saints last week, so I'm gonna go Raiders. I'm gonna go 24-21 in overtime.
That's the exact thing I was about to say.
All right.
I'm gonna go Pats 28-7.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders can keep up what they're doing. I think Cam's gonna have a great game, and Patriots are gonna win 24-18.
I have the same thing as Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have the Pats and I had it I had it 35-18.
All right, let's go Bears Falcons. I got the Falcons. I'm just really liking. I think Calvin Ridley will have another big game, so I'm gonna go 27-13.
I'm gonna go Bears 28-24.
I'm gonna go Falcons 38-10.
Dang, I think if the Bears get their defense together, they'll win. I think Trubisky has a great game. Bears win 31-28.
Yeah, I have the Bears and I'm thinking 24 to 24-10.
Okay.
Bills Rams.
All right, Yeah, here we go. Here's Christian's team, Bills Rams. I got the Bills. I don't know. I just see Josh Allen having another great game. I'm gonna go 30-14.
I have the Bills 27-23.
I have the Rams. That's my bold prediction of the week. I have the Rams 28-17. I think these Rams corners are just gonna have their way with these Bills wide receivers, and I think the Bills running games isn't good enough to hang out with this Rams defense. The Rams defense has low key been looking pretty nice, and I just think that the Rams are just gonna outplay them.
Yeah, I have Rams 24-20. I think we're gonna see actually how Josh Allen is at quarterback this week. He's playing an actually decent defense for the first time. And I think the Bills will underperform.
I got the Bills 31-21.
All right, let's go to Texans Steelers. I got the Steelers because I'm not liking the Texans defense. I love Deshaun Watson, but I got the Steelers by a good amount. I'm gonna go 28-7.
I'm gonna go Steelers 24-17.
I'm gonna go Steelers 31-20, and I think Big Ben is gonna show why he can be comeback player of the year this game.
Yeah, no, I Steelers have been my team from the very start of the season that I think are going to make the playoffs. Their defense is amazing. They win 31-20 as well.
I have the Steelers. I'm thinking 31-14.
All right,
Vikings.
let's go to Titans Vikings. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think these teams are really similar. You look at the running backs, look at the receivers. But I'm going to go with Titans. I'm going to go 23-21 in overtime.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings 24-21. I think Kirk Cousins has another bad game, but I do think Dalvin Cook has 2 to 3 touchdowns.
I'm gonna go Titans 31. No, I'm gonna go Titans 35-24, high scoring game. I think that Derrick Henry is gonna get clicking against this horrible Vikings defense this year. I think it's gonna be a big game.
Yep, I have the Titans. Vikings just haven't shown it yet. I think Derrick Henry finally has the game that he should. I have Titans 27-20.
All right, Panthers Chargers. I promise I'm not trying to be biased, but I really think the Panthers have a chance. I'm going to go Panthers 27-26. And I think Robbie Anderson is going to prove why he is a legit wide receiver with 2 touchdowns and 150 yards.
So the Chargers said that if Tyrod Taylor's healthy, they're going to start him. So if he starts, I think the Panthers can pull this game out. But if Justin Herbert starts, I think he gets his first win against us. Assuming that Tyrod starts, let's say 24-20 us, but if Herbert starts 27-24 them.
I'm gonna go 24-21 Panthers. Game-winning field goal by Joey Sly.
I don't see how the Chargers can bench Herbert after the game he had, and the Panthers just suck. So I have Chargers 31-28.
I had the exact same thing as Gray.
All right. We're going to Jets Colts. I think it's an easy dub for the Colts. I got Jonathan Taylor with 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna go 28-10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Colts 35-10.
I'm gonna go Colts 34-20.
I'm gonna go Colts 28-9.
I'm gonna go Colts, but not just because of their offense. I think their defense is gonna be explosive in this game. And I'm thinking a pretty high scoring game for the Colts, like a 38 to Jets 23.
Yeah,
All right.
Jonathan Taylor's gonna ball out.
Yes, sir. All right, Cowboys Seahawks. Man, this is a hard one. Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think I really like Russell Wilson this year. I think he is up there for MVP, but I'm really liking this Cowboys team. I think their receivers, and obviously Zeke, who's a top 3 running back, and Dak, who's sometimes he's very underrated, sometimes he's pretty consistent. So I got Cowboys 31-23.
Give me Seahawks 35-24.
I'm gonna go Cowboys 28-24. I just think that this this Cowboy defense held Todd Gurley to 61 yards last week. Todd Gurley, who was arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL a year and a half ago.
But he has arthritis.
I think this Cowboys defense is going to keep that momentum running from Atlanta and just bring it right to Seattle.
This is my game of the week. I think this will be a better game than the Chiefs-Ravens game and the Packers-Saints game. I do unfortunately have the Cowboys winning 28-24.
Yeah, I agree that this will be probably the game of the week. And I'm thinking actually Seahawks 35-28.
All right.
Unallowed touchdown.
All right. Lions Cardinals. I got the Cardinals. I'm a huge fan of that offense. I got the Cardinals 35-17.
I have the Cardinals 17-14.
I'm gonna go Cardinals 35-10.
I have Cardinals 27-14.
I have the Cardinals 28-14.
All right. Bucks Broncos. I got the Bucks. I see a big game from Tom Brady. I'm gonna say 21-7.
This is my upset game of the week. I have the Broncos winning 27-24.
I'm gonna go Buccaneers 28-17.
I think it's going to be heavily a defensive game. I have Bucks winning 20-14.
I'm going Buccaneers 21-zip.
All right. Packers Saints.
Packers Saints.
I am loving this game, and I got the Packers. I think they're going to win by 17 points over the Saints. So
I have the Packers going 31-17.
I'm gonna go Packers 31-28.
I have Packers 27-20. Aaron Jones, I think, is really going to not step it up because he did great. I think he's really going to show us that he's amazing.
Yeah, so I have the Packers two. Packers past 2 weeks have scored more than 48 points. And eh, Devontae Adams, if you put him in the picture, he's questionable right now, but like more than likely he's supposed to play. But I'm saying if Devontae Adams does not play, this is a game that's going to be 31-28. But if Devontae Adams does play, it'll be 42-28.
All right, and here's our big Monday night game. Two great AFC teams, Chiefs Ravens. I see a big game for Patrick Mahomes, and I got the Chiefs. I'm gonna go 42-35.
I'm gonna go Ravens 42-38. I just think this the Chiefs offense and defense just haven't been clicking together. You saw them go to overtime with Chargers last week. Chargers had a couple big opportunities in overtime. They just didn't really get out of their own end zone. I think this Chiefs defense is going to underperform big time this year, but still make a run late in the playoffs.
Give me the Ravens 31-21. I think Mahomes struggles.
I think this is the game they show us they can win 2 Super Bowls in a row. I have Chiefs 40-35.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs 40-35. That seems pretty good.
All right. So we've already talked about this a little bit, but next we're going to go into our bold predictions. So I'll start it off. Mine is about the Green Bay Packers game. I got the Packers beating the Saints by 17 points. I'm just not – I don't know. I think Kamara will still have a great week, but I don't think they're going to click the same way they normally would. I mean, obviously, there's a good chance Michael Thomas will come back, but I don't know. I'm really liking the Packers this year, and Aaron Rodgers could easily be up there for MVP candidates. So I got my upset is definitely that game, if you want to call it upset. I mean, I'm just really liking the Packers this week.
My bold prediction is really, really bold. A lot of people won't agree, but I say if the Saints don't win this game or Breeze struggles, they're going to throw Jameson week 4. Because last game, Drew struggled a lot. And if they start 1-2 and Breeze isn't doing good, I have Jameis. I think they have confidence in him.
Wow.
No, I mean, these are going to be Drew Brees' last or second to last year in the NFL probably. They're not going to bench him.
I don't think Drew Brees is leave until he comes home with a ring. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm glad you're bold, but like, Jameis is nowhere close to him, even if Drew Brees underperforms.
But if you think about it, any other year where the Saints knew they were going to win the division, I think they would have kept Brees. But now they actually have real contention with the Bucks, and I think the Falcons will step it up. So I think if they really want to win this division and Brees underperforms again, and they start the season with a losing record, I think they're going to throw Jameson.
Okay.
My bold prediction, I have Rams beating the Bills. I just really think this Bill offense, their run game hasn't really gotten like on the ground running yet. Their run game's really iffy with Singletary and Zach Moss.
Yep.
Their wide receivers, pretty iffy. John Brown, Stephon Diggs, I'll give him that. But I think Jalen Ramsey last week, I didn't see what he did last week, but week 1, he had a pretty decent impact on Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, in my opinion, is one of the NFL's best at the position. I don't think you get too much better than that. I don't think Stephon Diggs is very close to Amari Cooper skill-wise. I just think that these Bills wide receivers are going to get locked down by these corners. I think the Rams just go crazy on them a little bit. I think we see Cam Akers a little incorporate on the goal line.
No, I agree with that completely. I already talked about it a little bit, but I have the Bears over the Falcons. Trubisky, he's going to go back to that Pro Bowl season that he had. He's going to ball out. I think he'll throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Falcons defense is not going to stop David Montgomery. Allen Robinson's going to have a good game. And I think the Bears defense, if like I said, if they can get together and really focus, they can stop Calvin Ridley and what he's done so far.
Okay, so like my bold prediction, it's with the Cleveland Browns and Washington football team. I really got the Cleveland Browns on this one. Especially like, I mean, their run game is phenomenal. Like we saw last week with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. It was absolutely phenomenal. And also two great receivers, Odell and Landry, and I see Baker Mayfield popping off. And like last week, there was this thing that was like, if Baker Mayfield knows that like if he does not show anything in that game, he will be benched, and this is his time to shine. I think this game, he has he has a really good game. It's his time to shine, and I really think the Cleveland Browns are going to demolish the Washington football team.
So we got our last segment. Before that, I just want to say I'm really liking these matchups this week. I think there's going to be some great games to watch on Sunday. I'm really liking that Cowboys-Seahawks game. That's going to be obviously a battle of some really great receivers, really great quarterbacks. Obviously, like Seattle has Chris Carson, who's pretty underrated. So yeah, I think Sunday's going to be exciting. So this is our last segment. We're going to go into trivia. This is just something we thought would be fun. So I'm going to go first. Do we all know Dre Kirkpatrick, the corner for the Cardinals? All right, where did he attend college? A, Rhode Island, B, Alabama, C, Oregon, or D, USC?
Oregon.
Alabama.
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 Yeah, it's Alabama.
Yeah.
I got my question.
All right, we got it.
What quarterback receiving core right now has a quarterback who's leading the league in pass yards and a receiver who's leading the league in receiving yards?
Currently,
Yeah, what team?
It's definitely the Bills, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say it out loud.
Buffalo Bills, but they will be getting worse as the season goes on.
Just wait till Jalen Ramsey comes on the scene. Just wait.
Jalen Ramsey's a no one compared to Stephon Diggs.
No, I hate
Yeah.
the Bills so much.
All right, I got one. This one's kind of odd. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. All right,
Okay.
what Motown singer tried out for the Lions in 1970? Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, Marvin Gaye, and Smokey Robinson.
I'm going to go with Marvin Gaye.
Smokey Robinson.
Marvin Gaye.
I think Smokey Robinson.
It was Marvin Gaye.
Let's
He
go.
he bulked up
Wow.
30 pounds and trained with a Hall of Fame tight end from the Lions at the time. And then he got close to a bunch of players, and they ended up singing backup on his song "What's Going On."
It's pretty cool.
Okay, so mine is pretty easy. It's who led the league in running yards in the 2018-19 season.
2018, 2019.
Um,
That was Gurley. That was Gurley.
Wait. Yeah.
That was, yeah, I'm going to go Gurley.
Also, update I just got: Christian McCaffrey's been placed on the IR.
dang it. I'm gonna go with Zeke.
Yeah,
I
it was
got
Zeke.
Riley.
Let's go, baby.
Oh, dang.
Okay, no, so we could talk about the Christian McCaffrey thing for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So you just got that like ESPN notification or something on your phone, Christian? So I think the IR rules are a little bit different this year.
Yeah.
I think he can be back in what, like 5 games or something like that.
Three at least.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I don't know.
So that's not that big of a deal then. We knew he was going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. My guess is it'll be because they're not really going to want to play him and get him all tired. Since hopefully we'll be tanking for Trevor.
Yes,
or-
sir.
Oh,
Take
absolutely.
for Trevor, baby.
That's not
Tank for Trevor.
I don't obviously I love Christian McCaffrey. Who lives in Carolina and doesn't like Christian McCaffrey? I'm kind of excited to see what this holds for our team because you saw Mike Davis getting
Yeah.
separated on that last drive.
No, he was doing well.
I think this could kind of shake up our offense a little bit because they kind of know our run game was pretty bad these first 2 weeks because McCaffrey, he's not too much of a power back, he's more of a elusive back, and we just haven't got him in space like that.
Yeah.
From what we've seen from Mike Davis, he looks almost like a power back, almost like a vintage Jonathan Stewart, the 2015 season.
That was great.
I think, especially with Teddy Bridgewater being the number 4 passing leader this year, I think this Panthers offense could get on the ground running, and CMC comes back, and we'll just be – I think we could be a contender for top of the division.
And I think this is a great opportunity for Mike Davis because he's gotten – I think the first game he was on for 3 snaps, didn't get any touches. He was on the field for 3 snaps. And so I think this is going to be the opportunity where he shows he is the RB2 in Carolina, and he can do it.
I think this is going to take some time to develop, though, because I don't think it's just going to happen overnight, almost like CMC did. I think we're going to have to see a big step up in our defense. But if we get Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball, and he's the 4th leading passing leader for a reason. That doesn't just happen on accident. So I think once we start getting in the end zone, our defense will get some confidence and we can actually get on the ground running. I think the Chargers are going to be a really good team to go off of a little bit because their offense wasn't really struggling. But if Tyrod Taylor plays, I think we got a good chance, and I think we can get some momentum going into Week 4.
Yeah. See, I only have the Panthers going 3-13. I don't really see.
Yeah.
I think 5-11 is what we did last year. I think that's honestly our ceiling, and our floor is 2-14. I don't think we're going to do well at all.
Our offense has a chance to sort of mesh well, but I mean pretty much our whole offense revolves around McCaffrey, and I think Mike Davis could have an impact, but I mean he's obviously not a big name, so I think obviously we've got a lot of receivers from off seasons and stuff, obviously Robbie Anderson, Seth Roberts, people like that. I just think if our receivers can step up and even Teddy just be more confident, because obviously he's gotten injured before and he's dealt with stuff like that. So if Teddy can have more games where he throws more touchdowns and less picks, I think we have a chance to win more than 5 games. I mean, obviously I hate saying that because it's still a bad record, but from what I've seen, most people don't think the Panthers are going to be that great. So
yeah,
I kind of disagree. I don't think our ceiling's quite 5-11 because we saw us get close to Tampa Bay last week. I mean, it was pretty iffy, but if we're being honest, if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't throw those 2 picks, I'm not gonna say we win that game, but we have a better chance, and we don't have to get that last stop and inside 2 minutes, right? And then on top of that, look at the rest of our division is all 1-1 except for us. So this division is cracked wide open, especially with that Saints Raiders game. I think that shows that the Saints are beatable. They have an Achilles heel, whatever you want to say. I think this division is definitely. I don't think we're gonna win it actually, but I think it's a winnable division depending on how our rookies play and how our defensive line starts playing.
I love that D line. I'm really feeling Brian Burns could have another great year. Obviously, Derek Brown, the rookie, from what I've seen so far, he's been playing pretty well. Obviously we have veterans like K'Wan Short, who, he's experienced some injuries, but I actually really like our D line for what I've seen so far.
So for a CMC fantasy perspective as an owner of CMC, it sucks. Because that was more likely you had first pick, and then if he's on injured reserve or whatever. But on a fantasy standpoint, more than likely you're not gonna get M. Davis or pick up the backup because people are already rushing to get him. So yeah, definitely losing McCaffrey for your fantasy team, like if you're not a very big Panthers fan, that is a huge loss. And I don't know really like I think like you kind of just gotta like hope for like the best at that point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unless anyone else has anything else to say, I think this is gonna wrap up our first episode. I think we had some great points on. We've had some really exciting games last week, so it was great talking to you guys, and we hope to see everyone for episode 2, hopefully next week.
Yeah,
All right.
no, I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think we appreciate everybody for watching, and I think we're gonna try to make one episode a week, maybe two if it gets to that point. But stay tuned.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.